out my mind.
And now those inside Manchester United are witnessing a pivotal shift in the managerial landscape, following Patrice Evra's latest bombshell and the growing whispers surrounding the club's long-term leadership. While the atmosphere at Old Trafford has significantly improved under the guidance of Michael Carrick, the reality of top-flight football is often dictated by the pursuit of elite-level certainty. The recent setback against Newcastle served as a sobering reminder that even a promising interim run can face turbulence, and for a club of this magnitude, the margin for error is non-existent. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos hierarchy are reportedly evaluating every possible avenue to ensure the club's trajectory remains upward, even as Carrick prepares the squad for a massive encounter against Aston Villa. The debate isn't about Carrick's competence, which has been evident through 6 wins in his first 8 matches, but rather about the tactical ceiling required to bring Manchester United back to the pinnacle of European football. Before we dive deep into why Patrice Evra is calling for a dream appointment and the latest on the search for a permanent successor, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything happening at Old Trafford. The conversation surrounding the managerial seat has taken a dramatic turn, following reports that several world-class coaches are keeping a close eye on the situation in Manchester. Among them, Roberto De Zerbi has emerged as a figure of significant interest. The Italian tactician, known for his revolutionary approach to build-up play and high-pressing football, is reportedly keen on the United position.
After a successful stint at Brighton and a brief but impactful tenure at Marseille, De Zerbi's stock remains incredibly high within the footballing world. For the United board, the appeal of a coach who can implement a clear, aggressive identity is obvious. The way De Zerbi utilizes technical defenders and adventurous fullbacks would theoretically suit the current roster perfectly. Think about the potential of players like Diogo Dalot and the newly arrived Patrick Dorgu under a system that demands constant involvement from the back. Even the central pairing of Matheus and Lisandro Martinez seems tailor-made for the high-risk, high-reward distribution that De Zerbi champions. However, the club finds itself in a delicate position. Moving for a new manager while Michael Carrick is still performing above expectations requires a level of clinical decision-making that Ineos has promised to deliver, but one that must be handled with the utmost respect for the work Carrick has already put in. Carrick's impact cannot be understated. Taking over during a period of uncertainty, he restored a sense of calm and tactical discipline to the dressing room. Under his watch, we've seen the resurgence of Bruno Fernandes as a creative hub and the continued emergence of Kobbie Mainoo as one of the finest young talents in the Premier League. The players clearly respond to Carrick's calm demeanor and his deep understanding of the club's DNA. This internal stability is what made the 2-1 defeat to Newcastle so frustrating for the fans. It wasn't a collapse, but it highlighted a lack of clinical edge that often separates the good teams from the elite.
In that match, despite a spirited effort, the tactical nuances of a more seasoned managerial setup on the opposition side eventually told. It raised the question of whether Carrick, despite his brilliant start, is ready to navigate the grueling tactical battles of a full Champions League campaign and a Premier League title charge. The board is now weighing this against the opportunity to secure a proven winner who can define an era. This is where the legendary Patrice Evra has stepped in, adding a new layer of excitement to the discussion. Evra, who remains deeply connected to the pulse of the club, hasn't held back in identifying who he believes is the dream coach for Manchester United. His choice isn't just a tactical preference, but a call for a personality that can match the weight of the United badge. Evra has pointed directly toward Paris Saint-Germain's Luis Enrique. The Spanish manager, who has conquered Europe with Barcelona and recently transformed PSG into a more cohesive, hard-working unit following the departures of several high-profile stars, represents the gold standard of modern coaching. Evra's endorsement carries weight because it focuses on Enrique's ability to demand maximum effort. He spoke about the need for players to run, to work, and to suffer for the shirt, traits that he believes Enrique installs in every team he touches. For a squad that features explosive but young attacking talents like Benjamin Šeško and Brian Wembo, the arrival of a disciplinarian and tactical genius like Enrique could be the final piece of the puzzle. The fans are naturally divided but intrigued. On one hand, there is a deep-seated desire to see a club legend like Carrick succeed and build his own legacy.
There is a romanticism in the idea of a former midfielder who won it all as a player now leading the charge from the dugout. On the other hand, the lure of a manager who has already lifted the Champions League trophy and managed some of the greatest players in history is almost impossible to ignore. The feeling among the supporters at Old Trafford is one of cautious optimism. They recognise that the foundations are being rebuilt, and whether the architect is Carrick, De Zerbi or Luis Enrique, the objective remains the same: returning Manchester United to where it belongs. The upcoming fixture against Aston Villa is now being viewed as more than just a quest for 3 points. It's an audition, a statement of intent, and perhaps a deciding factor in how quickly Sir Jim Ratcliffe moves to finalise the club's long-term vision. The internal debate at the club is reflective of the fans' own internal conflict, loyalty to the present versus the ambition for a guaranteed future. And the technical nuances of such a monumental decision are precisely what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the INEO sporting department are dissecting as we speak. When Patrice Evra speaks about a dream coach like Luis Enrique, he isn't just throwing a famous name into the hat for the sake of headlines. He is highlighting a specific brand of footballing discipline that has been the hallmark of Enrique's career, from his historic treble with Barcelona to his more recent and perhaps more impressive structural overhaul at Paris Saint-Germain.
Evra's insistence that players must run a lot and work really hard to play for Manchester United under a manager like Enrique strikes a chord with a fan base that has seen flashes of brilliance but occasionally lacks the sustained intensity required to dominate the Premier League. The Spanish coach is renowned for his uncompromising stance on fitness and tactical adherence, a philosophy that would demand a total shift in the day-to-day operations at Carrington. For the current squad, which features a blend of established leaders and high-potential newcomers like Matheus Cunha and Benjamin Šeško, this level of elite coaching could be the catalyst for a genuine title challenge. Cunha, who arrived from Wolves with a reputation for work rate and creative flair, seems like the exact type of versatile attacker who would flourish under Enrique's intricate passing systems. Meanwhile, the shadow of Roberto De Zerbi continues to loom large over the managerial search. The reports suggesting that the Italian is keen on the Manchester United position have added a layer of complexity to Michael Carrick's interim tenure. De Zerbi is a coach who views the pitch differently, often using his defenders as the primary playmakers to draw out the opposition press. Imagine the impact of this approach on players like Lisandro Martinez and Matheus de Ligt. Both are comfortable on the ball, but De Zerbi would likely push their technical boundaries even further. The prospect of seeing Manuel Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo operating in a De Zerbian double pivot is something that has many tactical analysts excited.
Mainoo's ability to receive the ball under pressure and navigate tight spaces is a rare gift, and under a specialist like De Zerbi, he could transition from a rising star to a world-class midfield anchor. The Italian's interest isn't just a passing rumour, it's a reflection of his ambition to test his philosophy at the highest possible level, and for him, Old Trafford represents the ultimate stage. Despite his departure from Marseille, his reputation for playing some of the most attractive football in Europe remains intact, and the United hierarchy is well aware that he is a manager who can transform the aesthetic of a club overnight. However, the internal respect for Michael Carrick remains a significant factor in this equation. Carrick hasn't just been a placeholder, he has been a steadying hand during a period of transition. His understanding of the player's psychology is perhaps his greatest strength. He knows when to push and when to protect, a quality that was evident in the way he integrated Lenny Yoro back into the starting lineup and how he managed the expectations around young Chido Obi. The 2-1 loss to Newcastle, while a setback, didn't erase the progress made in the previous 6 matches. The players are fighting for Carrick, and there is a sense of unity in the dressing room that hasn't been felt in years. The challenge for the board is determining whether this Carrick effect is a sustainable long-term solution or a honeymoon period that will eventually fade as the tactical demands of the Premier League increase. Ratcliffe and his team are looking for marginal gains in every department, and if they believe a world-class appointment like Luis Enrique or De Zerbi can provide a 10% or 15% improvement in performance, they will likely feel obligated to act.
It's a ruthless business, and while Carrick's service to the club is legendary, the pursuit of excellence often requires difficult conversations. Patrice Evra's comments also touched on a very specific point regarding Luis Enrique's success at PSG without the likes of Lionel Messi or Kylian Mbappe. This is a crucial observation for Manchester United's current trajectory. The club is moving away from the superstar era and focusing more on a collective, cohesive unit. The signings of Bryan Mbeumo and Joshua Zirkzee reflect this shift. Players who are talented, yes, but who are primarily brought in to fit a specific system and work for the team. Enrique has proven he can build a winning culture based on the system rather than individual egos. This resonates deeply with the Ineos vision of a united DNA that is built on hard work and tactical intelligence. Evra's belief that Enrique is the man to instill this culture isn't just his opinion, it's a reflection of a sentiment shared by many who feel the club needs a forceful, elite personality at the helm to finally bridge the gap to the top of the table. The managerial dilemma also impacts the club's strategy in the upcoming transfer windows. If a manager like De Zerbi is appointed, the profile of players targeted might shift toward even more technically gifted ball players. Conversely, a move for Luis Enrique might see an emphasis on high-intensity athletes who can sustain a heavy metal press for 90 minutes. The current squad is versatile, with players like Diogo Dalot and Nusair Mazraoui able to adapt to different roles, but a definitive managerial appointment would allow for a more focused recruitment drive.
The board is essentially playing a game of chess, where the next move, the managerial appointment, will dictate the entire strategy for the next 3 to 5 years. For now, the focus remains on the immediate tasks on the pitch, but the noise surrounding the dugout is becoming impossible to ignore. Every result, every tactical tweak, and every public endorsement from a club legend like Evra adds fuel to a fire that is burning brighter with each passing day. The search for a permanent leader isn't just about finding a coach, it's about finding the face of a new era at Manchester United. And the weight of these managerial links is inevitably starting to ripple through the Carrington training ground as Michael Carrick prepares his squad for a season-defining clash against Aston Villa at Old Trafford. While the interim boss remains focused on the immediate task of recovering from that narrow defeat to Newcastle, the noise surrounding the dream appointment of Luis Enrique and the persistent interest from Roberto De Zerbi has created an atmosphere of high-stakes anticipation. For the players, especially the summer reinforcements like Matheus Cunha and Benjamin Šeško, the prospect of working under a manager of Enrique's stature is a tantalizing one. Šeško, who has shown glimpses of becoming the elite number 9 Manchester United has craved, would likely see his game reach another level under a coach who famously demands tactical perfection and relentless movement. The Spanish manager's philosophy isn't just about possession, it's about purposeful aggression, a trait that Patrice Evra insists is the missing ingredient in the current United DNA.
Evra's public backing of Enrique serves as a reminder that at a club like Manchester United, the standards are set by legends who expect nothing less than European dominance. The internal logic behind a move for Roberto De Zerbi is equally compelling. The Italian's desire to take the reins at Old Trafford is more than just professional ambition. It is a belief that his specific brand of football can only be fully realized with the resources and technical quality available at a club of United's size. His arrival would likely signal a fundamental shift in how the team builds from the back. Players like Diogo Dalot and Nussair Mazraoui, who have shown great versatility this season, would become central figures in a system that prizes full-back involvement in the midfield transition. Even for the more experienced heads like Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte, a De Zerbi appointment would represent a new tactical challenge, requiring them to be even more precise in their positioning and distribution under heavy pressure. The board, led by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, is fully aware that De Zerbi's stock remains high despite his recent departure from Marseille, and the fact that he is reportedly keen on the job puts significant pressure on the hierarchy to make a definitive call sooner rather than later. Yet there is a profound sense of respect for the environment Michael Carrick has fostered during his interim spell. He has navigated the complexities of a mid-season transition with a level of poise that has earned him the trust of the dressing room. Under his watch, we have seen a more cohesive unit, a team that fights for every ball and remains disciplined even when things don't go their way.
The 2-1 loss to Newcastle was a setback, but in the eyes of many, it was a tactical learning curve rather than a systemic failure. Carrick's ability to keep the squad unified while the club searches for a permanent successor is a testament to his character and his deep-rooted connection to the club's values. He has successfully integrated young talents like Chido Obi and Shea Lacey into the first-team environment, ensuring that the pathway for academy graduates remains open even during a high-level managerial scouting. This Carrick era, however long it lasts, will be remembered as a crucial bridge that allowed the club to breathe and recalibrate after a turbulent period. The conversation about Luis Enrique, however, brings a different kind of energy. His success at Paris Saint-Germain, where he achieved Champions League glory while navigating the departure of generational talents, proves that he is a manager who can build a winning culture on his own terms. Patrice Evra's point about Enrique's personal resilience and his ability to overcome personal tragedy to remain at the top of his profession speaks to the type of character required to survive the pressure cooker of the Manchester United job. The fans are beginning to imagine what a Luis Enrique team would look like at Old Trafford: high-pressing, technically flawless, and physically dominant. It is a vision that aligns perfectly with the Ineos objective of making Manchester United best in class in every department. For players like Brian Mbeumo and Joshua Zirkzee, who thrive in high-intensity systems, the arrival of a coach like Enrique could be the defining moment of their careers. As we look toward the immediate future, the situation remains incredibly fluid.
The club is in a position where they can afford to be diligent, but they cannot afford to be indecisive. The upcoming game against Aston Villa isn't just about 3 points in the race for Champions League qualification. It is a test of the team's mental fortitude under the shadow of these managerial rumours. If Carrick can guide the team to a convincing victory, he may well extend his stay and prove that the internal solution is the right one for the remainder of the campaign. However, if the board senses any stagnation, the lure of De Zerbi's tactical innovation, or the dream scenario of luring Luis Enrique away from his Paris Saint-Germain contract talks, will become almost impossible to resist. The reality of the situation is that Manchester United is at a crossroads. The foundations laid by Michael Carrick are solid, but the ceiling offered by elite-level managers like Enrique and De Zerbi is undeniably higher. The board is currently monitoring Luis Enrique's contract negotiations in Paris with intense interest, knowing that any sign of a breakdown could open the door for a historic appointment. At the same time, the communication lines with De Zerbi's camp remain open, ensuring that the club is not left behind if other European giants decide to move for the Italian. It is a complex, multi-layered pursuit of excellence, where every decision carries the weight of the club's future. What remains clear is that the wait-and-see approach cannot last forever. The players need clarity, the fans need a vision, and the club needs a permanent leader to spearhead this new era under Ineos. Whether that leader is already in the building in the form of Michael Carrick, or whether they are currently managing at the highest level in France or Italy, is the question that will define the next chapter of Manchester United's history. For now, the focus shifts back to the pitch, where the immediate results will dictate the speed of the boardroom's next move. The situation regarding Luis Enrique's potential extension at PSG and De Zerbi's availability are the variables that everyone is watching closely, but a definitive conclusion feels like it is still a few results away.